Good morning, my friends. I know it's a little early, but happy St. Patrick's Day. I want to thank you very much for joining me today. I'm glad you could join. Have you got your green on today? I'd like to know. Comment below if you're wearing green for St. Patrick's Day this week. Thank you for joining me. My name is Tina Kavergich. I'm a Canadian just east of Toronto. I'm very glad that you're able to join me today. Let me know in the comments below where you're checking in from, and if you're wearing green. It is a lovely day for crafting. I don't know where you are, but it's a little overcast, a little bit of snowy here coming down, so it is the time to stay inside and craft. Um, uh, so today we are going to be doing a slimline card, and it has a bit of a trick to it, so I wanted to let you know that. What you will need definitely for sure is your trimmer. You are going to want your trimmer for this slimline card. Make sure you have all of your items. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to talk about what we are going to be using. So today I'm going to be using the Slimline saying stamp set. I love this. It has a lot of great sayings on it. I think that's fantastic. I just love it here. So we're going to be using this. So make sure you have at least a stamp set. We are going to, in your package, ladies, some of you have a package, and what you're going to get is the Pool Party cardstock out, and we are going to be cutting this, and the Very Vanilla cardstock. So make sure you got those two out. If you don't have enough Very Vanilla, hopefully you can grab some from your stash. If not, Basic White will do just fine. Okay, so in that, we are also going to be pulling out a few little pre-cut designer series papers, and those are the pretty papers that we always like to look at. And the ones we're going to pull out, yours may not look exactly like this, but you are looking for a, what is it? A Daffodil Flower Designer Series paper, so I'm using this one. And a piece with pale papaya on it, and it's pre-cut. Okay, so these two pieces are pre-cut, and you're going to want those. And let's see, what else are we going to need? The rest we are going to be cutting from the cardstock that we have on hand. So make sure that you have your items prepared. Let me know in the comments below whether you have them all. Oh, I forgot. You want to get your piece of pale papaya. Oh my goodness, a piece of pale papaya ribbon. You want to get that. We're going to be using that. Oh, good morning, Cindy and Faye. Melissa, I'm glad you could join me. Thank you, thank you. Carol and Lynn, thanks for joining me. So I want to know if you could find and follow the rainbow that is on St. Patrick's Day. What do you think? Post below what you think would be in your pot of gold. Would it be gold? Would it be something else? What would be in there? A box full of chocolate? What would be at your end of the rainbow? So while you're typing that in below, I'd like to know what is your pot of gold that you're looking for. Let me know. I want to let you know also about some upcoming events we are having. Don't forget to mark on your calendar. We are going to have another super fun. This is one of my, actually one of my favorite activities is our dice game, and that's going to be taking place on the VIP group. Make sure you are part of the VIP group for that dice game coming up on March the 25th. It is free. So all you need to do is be part of that group, and that is fantastic. It's a lot of fun. We roll some dice and make a card from that. It is one of my favorite because it really makes me step out of my comfort zone. So that is, don't miss that. March the 25th. Oh my goodness. Time is like flying here. Also, I have some kits. I will be going to Utah on a trip in May. For a convention with Stampin' Up, and I'm going to be taking kits on the road, so you want to be part of that. I've prepared 10 packages, and if you'd like to be part of that, check out the price. I think it is something like $15. I think it was $10 for the package and $5 for shipping, so it's about $15. And I'm going to be taking that on the road, and I have no idea where I'm going to be on May the 24th for this kit. So I could be in the van, actually making them literally on the road on Route 66. So make sure you join me for that. I only have a few of those packages left for that. That is on May the 24th. And one of the most fun things, I am so excited, I'm going to be working with my friend Catherine Morehouse. She is on my team. And we have decided to collaborate, and we are doing our own stamp camp, which means it is a day full of creating 10, I don't want to say 10 cards because it's not just 10 cards. We've come up with something a little bit more exciting. It is going to be it's going to be a total of 10 items, and we promise at least 2 fancy folds and 2 packages that you're going to learn how to make, and the rest probably will be cards, but you want to be part of that. That is on June the 25th. If you're interested in that, comment below and I will send you the link. So you don't want to miss that stamp camp on June the 25th. So I got lots of stuff coming up. Check my events page. There could be more. I might be missing something, but just check the events page and make sure you're part of the newsletter so that you don't miss anything. So ladies, are you ready to get crafting? So got to make sure I have my trimmer here. There we go. Got my trimmer. You got your papers, and we're going to be doing this all together. So just in case, heaven forbid, anything happens, please make sure you reload this page. I have no kids in the house today, so the internet should be pretty stable. Okay, so as I mentioned, Carol is hoping for craft supplies at the end of the rainbow. Oh, so am I, Carol, so am I. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to put you up on the camera mount, so if you get a little queasy, make sure you kind of look away for a few seconds. And let's get that started. All right, are you ready to roll? Okay, here we go. Okay, let's just move you over, pop you up on this camera mount. Oops. Oh my goodness. I wish I had a better setup for this, but it is what it is. Okay. I have a feeling that's going to be going somewhere. What is going on here today? All right. Okay. I think it's good. I think it's good. You can see my table. That's that. There we go. Oh no. Okay. Let's try. Oh boy, I have to get something a little bit better. All right. Okay, as I mentioned, my name is Tina Kavergich. I'm going to move this up a little higher so that you can see. Okay, my name is Tina Kavergich, and I am Northern Stamper. And if you have any questions, you can drop me an email, fairly simple, at northernstamper@gmail.com. I'm just going to move this up so that you can see. I want to make sure that it is in the camera. So, as I said, there is the Slim Sayings. We are going to be using this. It is great. It is in the mini catalog, and it has a lot of great sayings. This is one of my favorite ones. You really are fabulous. I think it's fantastic, and the script on some of these are just a lot of fun. So, don't you think that is great? This is going to be great for this card. Okay, so we've got our items together, our ribbon. I think, let's see if we can get this camera a little bit better. Okay. My setup, I think, needs to be a little bit modified. Sorry about that. Okay, there we go. Now we move this down. Sorry, I am not sometimes the most technical savvy. I should have my husband maybe set this up for me. Okay, so there we go. We're in the camera. There we go. We got our ribbon. Got our ribbon here. There's, okay. And we got our pieces of designer series paper. This is just lovely. I just love this. This is actually from the celebration that went by. Don't forget, whenever you there's a new promotion coming out, always grab it. It is fantastic. It was beautiful, beautiful paper. Okay, have you got your stuff ready? Oh, it's early in Alberta, Evelyn. Oh my goodness. I hope you have a cup of coffee with you. All right, so we've got our papers. So there, as I mentioned, this is very vanilla. I'm going to put that off to the side for a minute. Okay, and what we're going to do is we are going to start with the pool party cardstock. And what we need to do is actually create our Slimline card first. So what we're going to do is we are going to take our trimmer, move these guys off to the side, and we're going to extend the arm of the trimmer, and it is going to be, all right, we're going to turn it so it's landscape, so it's long ways, so this cardstock is long ways, and I'm going to put it in and cut. I want to cut a piece off at 8.5, okay, so we want to cut that off at 8.5. Okay, so I've got that cut. Now what I want to do is I'm going to turn it 90 degrees, and I'm going to sit it at 3.5, and I'm going to score it. You want to score at 3.5, okay? All right, so I got it scored at 3.5. I will write this down. Maybe I'll put this down on a piece of paper for you. Okay, now where is my paper? So let's put this down so you can see. So you're going to cut it at 8.5, turn it, and score at 3.5, and then fold it. Okay, so there we go. Put that right there. So I'm going to just take this down, and I'm going to fold it. I'm going to fold on that line. All right. So it's going to leave a little bit off. We want to cut this extra piece off. So I'm going to bring it back in, and I'm going to put it on the 3.5 mark, and then I'm going to cut the rest off. Okay, so I end up with 2 little pieces. We are going to be using one of these pieces, so keep that aside. Okay, so I have now my Slimline card all made up, but it is not quite finished yet. We still need to cut a little bit of this off. Okay, now ladies, I got to tell you, this is where the tricky part comes in. Okay, so with card cutting, always measure twice and cut once. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it. So there's the score line. So this is landscape, so it's in landscape mode. I'm going to be cutting some portion of this off. Okay, so I'm going to bring it in here and put it at 4 inches. Now I'm actually going to write on my card so that you can see. So what I'm going to do, this is at 4 inches. Okay, and I'm going to make a little mark. So there's the mark. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut along the 4-inch mark here, all the way down, right to the score line. Okay, so you're going to cut right down to the score line. Once you get to the score line, you're going to turn it and cut right along the score line. So this piece comes off. Okay, so does that make sense? So again, we're going to turn, so we've got it landscape. There's our score line, right? All right, so I'm going to put it into the 4-inch mark. So there's 4 inches. And what I'm going to do is I am actually going to make my life easy. I'm going to put the blade right at the score line, pierce it through, and cut up. Okay, that's the easiest thing. So I have this cut to the score line. All right, I'm going to turn this. I'm going to put it in where the score line is, and I'm going to cut from here to here. Okay. I'm going to get as close as I can. So it's still a little attached. I'm going to give it a little yank. And I'm just going to snip off, because for me there was a little piece left. I'm just going to carefully trim that little corner. Now, if you're really good at cutting, And you were able to cut it right off? Fantastic. Okay, so we got that. You are going to need this piece that we just cut off. You're going to keep this, all right? So give me a thumbs up that you have been able to cut this part off. Okay, so again, I'm going to put it landscape. I just want to let you know, put it landscape to 4 inches. I cut down to the score line. Turn 90 degrees. And I cut down to where I've cut. So I'm going to cut along that score line, keeping this piece for a little later. Okay? All right. Let me know when you've gotten that far. So what we have left is, it's like a little door on the front of our card. Okay? All right. So that's fairly good. Now, you can see on mine, this is my my sample one for you to show, and normally this black line would not be here. Okay, all right, so I think you're able to do that. Hopefully it is. I'm not going too quickly. So let's have that off to the side. Okay, we're going to put this off to the side, and I'm going to bring in this piece that I had cut off. Everybody should have a piece that they had cut off. All right, and we're going to do a little bit of cutting. What we're going to do is we're going to take this, and I'm going to cut this 3 inches. So it's going to be 3 inches wide, okay, by 4 3/4 high. So if I just double check, that should already be 4 3/4, or as close as it is. That's fine. 4 1/2 is good too. So 4 3/4. What is 4 3 2? 3/4, or 4 1/2. It doesn't matter. Could even be 4 1/4. It's up to you. So whatever this piece is, we're going to leave it at that length, and we're just going to cut this to 3 inches. Okay? So I'm going to cut that to 3 inches. Okay? Hope I'm not going too fast for anybody. So whatever the height is, we're going to cut it to 3 inches wide. All right? Now, we need to do a little bit of cutting with our Very Vanilla. So let's put this aside with our card base. Okay? And we need to get our Very Vanilla. So I don't want to go too fast. All right? I'm going to get my cardstock, and again, I'm taking the arm out for this ruler. And what I'm going to do, because this is 8 1/2 already by 11, I'm actually just going to leave that at the moment. So I'm going to leave it, and I'm going to turn it, and I want it at landscape mode. So this Very Vanilla we want at landscape mode, which means we want it nice and long. Okay? And I am going to make this 3 1/4. So, okay, there's 3 1/2, 3 1/4. I'm just going to write this down. So you're going to cut at 3 1/4. All right, we're going to cut this at 3 1/4. There we go. So I got this at 3 1/4. I just need to trim a little bit off on the edge. So I am going to take it down to 8 1/4. So I want it 8 1/4 long. So this takes a little bit off the bottom. Okay, so I know these are a lot of measurements, and it's a lot of cutting. So let's just double check that. Okay, so the Very Vanilla's 3 1/4. We're going to turn it to 8 1/4. And we have just one more piece to cut, but we can do that later. All right, so we have these pieces now cut. Let's do a little bit of gluing to get these all out of the way. Okay, all right, so I'm going to bring back in my pieces. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready. Okay, so there are my pieces that we've cut. Okay, all right, looking good so far? What I want to do is I'm going to take this piece of Very Vanilla and I'm going to double check to see that it fits on the inside of the card. And it looks like for my card, it's a little big. So I'm going to take this down and I'm going to double check. Oh, see? I didn't cut it all the way down to 3 1/4. I guess I had cut it down to 1 1/2. So this is always great. Always double check before you glue anything. So now I can see it fits in here. The Very Vanilla fits on the inside of the card. That's what we wanted. We want it for the inside. So when we close it, we can see the Very Vanilla on the inside. All right. So there's a nice frame all the way around. Okay, that is fantastic. That's what I want. I'm going to do a little bit of gluing. I don't want to lose this piece of paper. So let's glue this down. Okay, and because it's a slimline card, I'm going to add a little bit of glue at each point, like in the middle and on the ends. So let's glue that down with a nice frame around it. Okay, so now I'm not going to lose this paper, so that is fantastic. All right, so I got that glued on the inside of the card. What I have is, remember this piece that we cut out on the top here? We are going to be mounting that eventually on the front. Okay, but before we do that, we want to get together some of our designer series paper. So we're going to bring back in these gorgeous pieces of designer series paper. And the one that fits on here is this Pale Papaya. So if I might have to do a little bit of a modification to it, I'm going to lay it down. I can see it fits, but it's a little high. So whatever you have cut out, you're just going to do a little bit of cutting just so it fits, again, with a nice little frame. So I'm going to bring my trimmer in and just trim off a little bit of that paper. So we'll just do that a little bit. Always do small little cuts until you get to the size that you want. You don't want to do like huge amount of cuts and then find out it was wrong. So if I lay it again, it is perfect. So I'm just going to flip that over so I can use the back. So I can see it fits really nicely all the way around. Once you have it cut down to the size that you want, let's glue this on. Okay, I'm going to glue this on in 3 spots. Okay, there we go. And have that nicely on there. Okay, that is, I like to do this so that I don't lose some of the papers. Okay, so I've got that glued on this little frame that is going to sit on the front of my card. But I don't want to glue it down because it looks kind of plain. I'm missing something down here. And that is what this designer series paper is for. Again, you might have to modify it and cut it. This one is a little big. So I'm going to turn it over. And I'm going to take a little mark. And I'm just going to, I know I need to cut a little bit off on the side. I'm going to make a little mark. And I need to cut a little bit off on the bottom. So there's my mark on the top. I know I need to take a little bit off and some off the bottom. So there's a little mark. Okay. I'm going to get my trimmer and cut some of this paper on those marks. Don't forget, if you do get a little lost, you can always watch this when the video is finished or rewind it a little bit. So, okay, now I can look again, and look, it now fits. It fits nice and perfect if I put it on. There we go. On the front of my card. Nice frame around, and I'm going to glue it down. Looks good. It's not upside down. Can you tell if it's upside down? How can I tell if it's that upside down? Yeah, that looks right. Geez, are the flowers supposed to go down or up? I think they're supposed to go down, right? Yeah, those are daffodils. They're supposed to go down. Add a little bit of glue and glue it to the front of the card. Very nice frame all the way around. Okay. And it's nice and square. Oh, look at that now. So my card, as it's coming together, you can see it coming together now. I don't want to lose this paper, this piece here. So what I'm going to do is this actually glues down, but be very careful. You're only going to glue the bottom portion that is overlapping the front of the card. You don't want to turn it over and just add glue all over. You don't want to do that. So I'm just going to add glue to the very bottom. Okay. Just one strip, or if you're doing with liquid glue, one strip on the bottom. And the portion that is overhanging, that's what you're going to connect this piece to. Just make sure you have a nice frame around the left and the right. From the very vanilla, you can see that around the edge. Nicely, it's attached now to the front of the card. There we go. Looks good, doesn't it? Looking good. It's all coming together. And don't forget, we now are going to add our ribbon. We have to do still a little bit more cutting with other pieces, but at least we got this all placed together, and we're not going to misplace any on our desk. I don't know about you, but I put something down and I think it vanishes. Those little leprechauns, they take everything away. So I'll just tell you a little story. A couple of years ago, my kids, they were part of a youth choir, and they did a tour of Ireland, and it was very exciting because we did, when we were in Ireland, we were there on St. Patrick's Day. It was absolutely fantastic. They were part of the St. Patrick's Day parade in Dublin, Ireland. It was amazing, though I got to tell you, I did not see any leprechauns at all. Even after I went to the Guinness Brewery for a tour, I still didn't see any leprechauns at all that day. But what a lovely, lovely place to visit. If you ever have a chance, visit Ireland. It is absolutely fantastic. All right, so I'm going to take the ribbon. Now the ribbon should be long enough, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to place it around from the back. Going to lay that down on the inside of the card because I want it to wrap around here. And the front of the card is where it's going to end. So I've opened the card and I've laid it down. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit of tape, because where I'm taping this, or you can use glue, is where the sentiment is going to sit on top. So no need to worry too much about that. Now I'm going to bring it over. My sentiment is actually going to lean a little bit more onto the left, not in the center, but just onto the left here. So I'm just going to add a little tape. So I got a little bit. Oh, it's overhanging somewhat, so let's cut off the excess and see if I can use some of that for either another card or for this card. So I'm just going to add and tape it down. I want it in a nice little straight line. Okay. Sharon says not enough drinks. Maybe that was the problem why I did not see any leprechauns on St. Patrick's Day in Dublin, Ireland. So even though the two pieces end at the front and I've got it taped down, it will be hidden. So don't worry about that. So when I look around, it's nicely wrapped around and ends on the front. Okay, so I still have a little bit left. I'll use this for maybe when we're done. So give me a thumbs up when you're ready for moving on. So we've got our ribbon placed on. We are going to need to do a little bit more cutting with our cardstock. So that's why you have this left over. There are 2 pieces. You could use either one of these. It's up to you. And a little bit of a very vanilla. So we have to do a little bit of cutting. So let's put this off to the side. Okay. And what we're going to do is we are going to cut this piece of cardstock, and it is going to be cut at 1.5 wide. Okay, so it's going to be 1.5 by 3.5. Okay. So first what I'm going to do, my first cut, is I'm going to cut it at 3.5 because that's the longest one. Because I can always use that for something else. So I'm going to put this in here at 3.5. Okay. And I'm going to turn it and 1.5. Take a little bit off on this side. I don't want to lose my measurements for you. And 1.5. There we go. So I got a little piece like that, 3.5 by 1.5. Okay, got that. Now I'm going to bring in my very vanilla, and again I'm going to cut it at a little bit smaller than the 1.5. So I'm just going to go down roughly about 1 little nick on my trimmer, and then there's 3.5, 1 little nick minus. So I want this to just fit in to this piece that we cut very slightly. So I don't want to take it down a full quarter. I just want to take it down a very, very small bit so that there's a very small, thin frame around. Now, the reason I did that is because I wanted my saying to fit right in. Now, if you're using a different saying, you might want to cut your card or your piece to whatever your saying is. It is totally up to you. I am using this long one in the Slim Sayings. I think this is going to look stunning on a card. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stamp this in Memento Black. Whoops. Let's get that on a block. Oh, you need a longer one. Let's get our blocks out. So for this, I am using block number H. It is a long block, okay, and it fits on really nicely like that, okay? Now, just to let you know, there are 2 different types of stamps. There's ones with the red rubber on it, and if you look, there's a slight little sponge in between the red and the wording there. So that means I don't need anything underneath. But if I had a polymer, the kind that you can see through, you need some kind of cushioning underneath when you're stamping. Okay? So that's, always remember that. So I'm going to ink it up. Okay? And I'm going to test it on my scrap of paper. There we go. I can see it looks really well inked. It looks nice. Ink it up again. And remember, if you make a boo-boo, there are 2 sides to every paper. Are you watching my newsletter? This month I am talking about people. I usually tell people, why don't you come craft with me? Let's make a card. And they have very many. Well, where does the pink front come from? Oh, the pink front. Oh, this piece is also from, let's look from the back. It was from the celebration. It is from one of the free papers that came in the celebration. And this is pale papaya. So if you have any kind of pale papaya to match, or whatever designer series paper you are using on the bottom, you can match. See, I just pulled out the pale papaya from this, and that's what I'm using. As I was saying, in the articles I'm writing for this week's newsletter people may say that they have reasons that they can't craft, like they're not crafty, they don't have time, or, you know, different things that they may say, and I wanted to address some of those topics. And this week, I think it was this week or last week, one of them was about being perfect. And I want you to know, making cards, don't need to be perfect. So if you make a mistake on one side, flip it over. There's no big deal. So making cards, you don't want to be perfect because they are handmade, and that's what it should be. It is from the heart, and it is for the joy of making cards, not for the perfection. Oh, look, I made that imperfect. It is slightly off. Look, I can peel that off again and redo it. So I'm going to place that on the mat, and you know what? To me, it might be a little high, it might be a little low, but you know what? It looks darn tootin' good. I gotta tell you, looks good to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and remember I said there is that area where our ribbons come together. Let's get some dimensionals and add that sentiment. Now before I add that sentiment, remember I had the leftover? Oh, there we go. Let's actually cut some of this on an angle. Oh, come on. Or let it be frayed. Okay, it's going to be frayed. And I'm going to add this to the bottom or the side. Let's see, where do I want to place it? Oh, looks kind of cool on the side. What if I add it to the bottom? That looks cool too. I could do that. What else can I do? I could put it onto the side here like that. Can I do it from the top? I could do it from the top, wherever you like. There is no wrong to creating a card, and I'm just going to add it to the bottom. So I'm going to take that on, use up that little piece so it doesn't end up in my bits and bobs. Let's add some dimensionals to that. There we go. Oh, did I tell you I have a class coming up called Perfectly Imperfect? It's all about imperfect cards. That's the point of that. I'm going to put this off to the left side and have that like that. There we go. Look at that. Now, if you have some embellishments, add those on. If you have a little bit of Wink Stella, let's open that up. And I'm going to actually add it to some of the flowers here on the inside. I'm going to add some Wink Stella. There we go. Look at that. Oh, that looks so cute. Add a little sparkle. If you have, maybe you'd like to add a little flower. If you have extra of this paper left over, or any paper that you have, cut some of it out. Maybe I'll cut one of these out and add it. Oh, that's a great idea. Let's do that. Okay? There's nothing saying that the card has to be finished when I say it's finished. It's whenever you feel it is finished. So let's actually add a little bit. So the piece I'm cutting out is even from the edge, so it's not even a full flower. Look, I can tuck it behind there. There we go. I can tuck it here. Maybe I'll tuck it on the top. Let's take a look. Oh, actually, I like it. I really like it there. So why not? Let's add it. Okay. Doesn't mean it's until it's glued down. There we go. Hey, that looks fantastic. Oh, where's my Wink Stella? Need my Wink Stella. Add it to the card. Paint the inside of the flower. There we go. You know what? Do I need another one? Let's take a look. Let's cut it out. Nothing says that it is finished. Why not? Let's take the chance, get out of our comfort zone, and give it a try. You always got to give it a try just to see. Okay? And even though that piece may be kind of cut off, maybe I can tuck it in somewhere. Let's see. Hey, look, it looks really good. Even though it's half a flower, nobody will know. Half a flower. Right? Look at that. Slip it right under. Right to the edge. There we go. There we go. Look at at that. And I even used the pieces that are left over. I think that adds a little bit more. Now, if you really want, stamp a sentiment on the inside. What have we got? Oh, let's do that. You really are fabulous. Let's go with that. That's one of my favorite ones. Okay. Don't forget, if you have flower stamps, add them to the bottom. Let's do that. There's always a little bit that we can do. So I'm going to ink that up. I'm going a little off script. This was really not planned. All right, so I know it's going to be right about here. It's going to be covered. There we go. You really are fabulous. There you go. See? Woo! It's covered. And maybe I'll add some little flowers on the bottom. What have we got? Ooh, artfully layered. I could always use that. Okay, totally going off script here. Can I add this? Can I add that? Why not? Who says we can't do that? Okay. Now the only color that I have is black, but you know, another color would look really nice too. So I'm going to test it. And now I don't want any of that getting on. I really should have stamped this ahead of time, but let's slip under a little piece so that I can overhang a little bit. Okay, gonna slip a little piece under there so I don't make the background too messy. All right, and add that. There we go. Take this away. Look at that. Wow. You know what? It still looks fantastic. I gotta say. Looks really good. There we go. What do you think, ladies? You know what? Who says we can't do that? It's my card. I think it looks great. There we go. What do you think? I like it. So, hold on, ladies. I want to say a proper goodbye. Thank you very much for joining me today, and I hope you had a lovely time. And I hope you have I hope you have a lovely, lovely St. Patrick's Day. Have a great day. Don't forget to post the pictures that you've created. I'd love to see them. And if you have any questions, please drop me an email, northernstamper@gmail.com. There we go. There's the card. Looks great. Join me next week as we make our last fancy fold. I got to tell you, super duper fancy fold last Slimline card. So next week you don't want to miss. It is going to be something. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Whoop. Bye-bye.